Welcome everyone to a long overdue developer log from Fun Infused Games. I am your host, developer Chris Steele, and we're going to talk about a few things about what's going on with Fun Infused Games and just some other stuff that kind of flows off the top of my head as I'm doing this. So, we're on to about take 5 right now. Thankfully, you don't have to see all the first 4. I've been running into some problems with this microphone. Before I got started, there was like a loud hum that I found an audio gate setting that seemed to resolve that. And then I was getting, after about 30 seconds of recording, I was getting a sort of echo. So I had to screw around and do a bunch more takes to get that resolved. Then finally, when I thought I had that resolved, it wasn't picking up my voice. So if I talked here, it was fine. But if I talked here, you didn't hear me. So I don't know how many of you out there have done a lot of video recording. I'm a little bit new to this, but it's been kind of a struggle. I've been trying for the last basically 2 hours just to get going on this video. I had previously used Windows Movie Maker to do my first couple devlogs, but the quality of the video was actually pretty low, and I didn't want to deprive all my viewers of so many pixels of this pretty face, so I decided to use something different. I tried a few things. I tried VLC, and it seemed like it was going to work, but then it kept locking up while trying to record. I'm on OBS now. Other than the microphone issues, I got it to work pretty quickly. I like how it's working. It's pretty clean interface. It lets me set up, to use this microphone instead of the webcam microphone pretty easily. So, crossing my fingers, this is going to be the good take. If not, then you'll only see this like in the outtakes. Great, we made it. So there's been actually a lot going on with Fun Infused Games. I've tweeted about a little of it. I haven't really updated the blog recently, but yeah, a lot of stuff going on lately. First off, we've got VolChaos. It's released on Steam Early Access, so you can get that. You can leave us feedback. I still got a number of changes. Not a number, but I still got some tweaks to a lot of the graphics, basically between level graphics. And then I want to take whatever feedback players give me. I've got a little bit so far, so there's definitely a few things that I want to tweak before the final version. I might update some of the levels, the expert levels. For those of you who played it, when you collect all the gems, you can subsequently go back and play like it's kind of like the Super Meat Boy like black level kind of things. Only I took out all the gems from those levels, and I just made the lava rise ridiculously fast. So it's going to be like an all-out speed run. And I think a lot of those, because I changed the levels a ton for the Steam release of VolChaos. So I added in like 20 new levels, but I literally did tweaks and sometimes major tweaks to all the existing 40 levels that were there prior. So if you haven't checked that out, it's pretty awesome. I want to say it's like $3 right now. It was discounted a little bit, but it's back to the sort of normal price. My initial plan was to do a PlayStation 4 and Steam simultaneous release. I might go back on that just because basically Fun Infused Games is more or less me, and it's a lot of work already to get one release going, and to get 2 releases going, it's just at the same time. I think it's going to be a lot of work, and I might just focus on getting the Steam release, considering it's so close and it's already on early access. I think I might focus on getting that done. I've got to add some Steam specific stuff like achievements, and I actually was working on Abduction Action for Steam, kind of jumping ahead, but I figured out how to do all of the achievement stuff while doing that game, so I just got to go back into VolChaos and kind of plug that in, so that should be a pretty easy step. But yeah, if you have feedback on the early access version of VolChaos, please get it to me soon. I will try to address as much as that I can before the final release, which I want to say is going to be in like a month, if not sooner. And then I probably focus really strongly on getting that PlayStation 4 version done. After that, the PlayStation 4 version, it it runs. It doesn't have a lot of the newer tweaks I made sort of prior to releasing it. It doesn't have any of the new levels and some of the new artwork. But it's pretty close, and it shouldn't take me too long. I hate to put off the Steam release for a couple weeks so I can get the PlayStation 4 release out, and I don't know how long like certification on PlayStation 4 is going to take because I've never done that process. So if that ends up dragging out, it would be like kind of needlessly delaying a PC version of the game that I have basically done. So I think that's good reason to separate the two. And unless I change my mind or someone goes in the comments below, I'm pointing at comments, and gives me a good reason not to do that, to instead do the simultaneous release, I think that's probably what I'm going to do. The other sort of big news that I've got going on is this week I started on the Steam version of Abduction Aktion Plus. That was released on Xbox Live Indie Games and on Ouya. It was basically like a complete artwork overhaul of the original game. The original Abduction Aktion on Xbox Live Indie Games. It had art not all, but almost exclusively done by myself, and I actually hired a quality artist to do updates for that, and I did that specifically for the Ouya version, which ended up selling pretty poorly, and the Xbox Live Indie Games, I figured why not do that update for that too. So I ported that basically in the span of this week. It went pretty smoothly. The Ouya version was pretty close. I just had to pull out some of the Ouya specific stuff, which was mostly related to purchasing the game. I should mention, actually, when I did the Ouya port, I ported it to Mono Game, so that's why I was pretty close on the PC version. I just had to add some new things in for like handling different screen resolutions, which I had done with the VolChaos PC version, so it was just pulling the code out of that. And then I ended up implementing achievements, which I was talking about a little bit earlier, but that was sort of figuring out how to do that, because I hadn't worked with like the Steam API really before that. So I got that in there. I made a few little minor kind of gameplay tweaks, but nothing that probably most people notice. But I got that finished, and that is actually waiting for Valve to review. I am really hoping, if they can get to it quickly, that I can actually push that out next week. I'm not going to do early access with Abduction Aktion. Unlike VolChaos, where I want a lot of feedback, I want to improve things, and I know there's still work to be done. Abduction Aktion, I'm pretty happy with where it's at, and I think to really improve it, I would have to do a sequel and kind of start from the ground up. I like where Abduction Aktion by itself is, so I'm just kind of gonna leave that as it is, get it out. It hasn't been on PC before, so it'll be all new. I don't think I'm gonna bring it to any other platforms other than Steam on PC. Just like so many people have Steam, and my other games, VolChaos and Hypership, are both on PC on non-Steam platforms. And aside from like bundle sales, I didn't really make any money off of them. It was kind of I'm not going to say it's a waste of time, because I definitely did make money off bundles, but it wasn't really probably worth my time. I could have been working on something else. So I think for Abduction Aktion, and probably going forward, if I can't get the release on Steam, I'm probably not gonna do it on PC. The other project I've been working on a lot this last month is something called Ultra Action for Xbox Live Indie Games. I think this is a little aside, but I'm just going to call it XBlig going forward. That's what all the cool kids call it, and I desperately seek that sort of attention. So XBlig it is! Yay! Yay! Anyways, I've been working on that. I haven't made an Xbox Live XBlig game in like a number of years, especially, and I haven't made an original game at all in a number of years. I've been just focusing on so many ports and then some unfinished stuff. But I'm added like a shorts, so fun infused shorts like moniker to this particular game. You'll notice I didn't focus much on the graphics. It's all sort of rectangles and squares and stuff, and I think it's actually a kind of neat game. It doesn't look very good in screenshots, but when you see it actually in motion, and especially it's got a lot of particle effects and particles like flying and landing and bouncing, and I think it's actually pretty fun and pretty colorful when you get in there and actually play it. But overall it's a pretty simplistic graphic style, and the game is not real long, but that is sort of the idea with I was going with the different fun infused shorts things, is to just take like a gameplay concept that I like, that I enjoy, and put something out fun, put something that I can get out there, release it somewhere, not necessarily on XBlig, maybe it's on mobile, maybe it's on PC, but just something short and quick and fun that can like prove a concept is interesting and enjoyable to players. I think players will enjoy it, and I do so many of these big projects and so many ports, and it's like I haven't done new games in forever. So it's good, like for me, it's good to be able to go to these smaller concept games and like kick one out, in the middle of doing a bunch of ports of this or that, and in the middle of doing, a year long or whatever project, because a lot of the projects I want to do are going to take a long time. So like this is a way just for me to kind of creatively vent out my creativeness. Sorry for all the technical jargon, but I mean that's sort of the concept of the fun infused shorts games I'm doing. Back to Ultra Action specifically. If you've played like the NES Contras, you're gonna recognize that it borrows a lot from it. It's a very similar style. It's actually. You probably like I had this comment when I did Bad Caterpillar, which is a lot like Centipede. In your mind, you don't realize the sort of the pacing of some of these games. If you go back and play them, they're actually rather slow, some of the things. And with Bad Caterpillar and also with this, like the pace is much more frantic than the games it borrows from. And I did the artwork is different. I did different behaviors with the enemies, different level structures. So yeah, it's taking a concept, but I think it's also taking it in kind of a different and unique direction, in a way that the new game like stands up on its own. So like I hope people will look at these and try them, and especially like in motion and playing the game, I think it comes through a lot better than it comes through on the screenshots. And like I've made, I don't know, like 10 games or something now, and like this Ultra Action is one that I really enjoy. It's one that I find myself like just playing levels, like not even with any purpose. Like sometimes I go on, I'm like, oh, I added this new gun like just the other day where it shoots like giant bullets. Well, I went in and I tested it and I was like, okay, the giant bullets work, they do what they want. But then I was like, I'm having fun with this. So I was going through like all the levels of giant bullets and shooting everything, and then I finished and I played them again, and it's just like that's a good sign as a developer. Like if you are getting into your own game, uh, it, you're hoping that that's going to carry over to fans, and I think most of the time it does. But I mean, it's a win for me if I can make games that I really enjoy myself, and it's a double win, I guess, if everybody else enjoys them too. So I pretty much finished that up. It's in peer review now. Uh, the thing with XBLIG right now is there's not a lot of developers still making games for it. So I don't know how long this process is going to take to actually get it through review. And if anything is found wrong with it, it's obviously going to take longer. I definitely had those sort of issues with other games. A crash here. I actually had with the original Hypership, I think it was. I had one of the it's basically a drop down that says, "Hey, what resolution is this game?" And it was 720p, I believe, and I had it at like 1080i, and just having that wrong um, causes you to have to fail the review, and then you have to wait, I think, a week before you can resubmit. So I mean, it could be something legitimate, it could be something silly like that, but it happens. So I don't want to peg down a release date, but it is in review. I do plan to take feedback even after it's released and probably do like a 1.1 version that is got some improvements, and maybe I'll add in some new stuff too. The game itself is like it's 3 levels long. The trial is 1 level, and then if you pay $1, you can unlock the whole thing. All the weapons are there, trial or purchased. They're all like kind of randomized, so you're gonna have a slightly different experience every time you play the game. The enemy behaviors are somewhat random, so like some of the enemies will like duck, some of them will jump over your bullets. There's a different frequency and a different sort of randomness depending on what enemies there are. So I mean, like the levels look the same, but they're not going to play like 100% the same every time you play them. I know that might annoy people that do like speed runs because you can't count on this enemy being here and this enemy being here. But you'll have a general sort of sense of where they're going to start from, and then it'll be up to you to sort of either avoid them, jump over them, whatever. But yeah, so that's pretty much done. Expect that soon. I'll tweet and whatnot. I'll probably put it on our Facebook page when it gets done, so when it gets out and released and stuff. So I think you'll really enjoy that. I did also put that on Greenlight for the PC version, and I that'll probably take a while, but it was actually something that kind of dawned on me. I was just gonna do XBLIG for this because it's kind of like a simple one, but then I started thinking like, okay, well, the XBLIG dollar version is 3 levels, and I think that's probably worth it for $1. Especially it's got like 1 to 4 player mode, and I think it'd be a pretty fun like party game. So I was like, that's worth $1. Then I started thinking like, well, what if I added like like 3 more levels, and or 4 or 5, like then it's starting to get big enough where like it might make sense to put it on PC and put it on PlayStation 4. So that's kind of just an idea I have kind of floating out there. I'll see how much people like the one that comes out on XBLIG and kind of play it by ear from there. I do also plan to do another sort of fun infused shorts. Game, I'll probably do those. I would like to do a few of those every year. I don't know what concept I'm going to pick up for the next one yet. I'm still kind of thinking that through, but I don't know. I've got some ideas, and I'm going to probably sit down and look at some like old Atari games and see if there's any of those like concepts from those that really sort of speak to me, and I'm like, you know what, like that was a cool game, but nobody's done it in forever, and I can do X, Y, Z, and to kind of like improve upon that concept. Or maybe I want to like combine a few of them. Maybe I want to combine Frogger and Joust or something. That's just off the top of my head. That is not a legitimate idea, but if you steal it and make it, I want royalties. All those games basically in review or ready to review. You're probably wondering, hey Chris, what's next? Well, I think the next focus is going to be getting changes and finishing up VolChaos for Steam, getting that one ready for its full Steam release, and then I might look at another short if I can kind of figure out a good idea for it. There'll definitely be, as those releases go, there's going to be a lot of marketing stuff to do, a lot of feedback to give. I don't know how many of you out here have released games, but when you release a game, you really, those surrounding days, like just after the game, you end up responding to like a lot of emails, a lot of feedback, and it really does take up a significant portion of your time. Just even if it's just like somebody emailing you and going, hey, I run this YouTube channel, I would like a CD key, and then a couple for a giveaway or something like that. Like I always oblige those people. Please continue to send me requests, but like when you have a lot of them, it does take a lot of time, and I'll take the time to look at their site, see what they're about, and then send them usually just kind of short reply like, hey, thanks for checking me out, I like this and that about your site, here's a couple keys. But and then you also have to send out to press and try to get reviews, and people don't realize, I think, just how much marketing effort it goes into being an indie game. I mean, even just this process tonight of me shooting this video, between figuring out the stuff that wasn't working, shooting the video, editing the video, which I haven't done yet, but I will, and I've done it before, so I kind of have a good idea of how long it's going to take. But I mean, I've ended up spending like 3 hours of my night just to put together this short little developer log video. I think next time it'll be shorter because it's been so long and I have a lot going on to talk about that I don't normally. If I do it more frequently, I can probably keep these down to like 15 minutes instead of whatever this is going to be. I bet I've shot 40 minutes of video that I'll probably end up using the vast majority of it, and the reshot stuff, there's a bunch of stuff with echoes, I'm just going to throw that out mostly, but I still had to record it, still took up my time. I'm losing my train of thought now. Anyways, marketing, lots of work, yay. So I might look at some of my other projects. I know Hypership 2 is actually pretty far along. I'm kind of going back. I designed it originally with the intention of mobile, but if you start looking at like the iOS space, just the number of games coming out every day is insane. And if you don't get featured by Apple, if someone doesn't notice you, it's like, it's so feasible that this game that you spent months of hard work on, and hundreds if not thousands of dollars in like artwork and music assets, it could just go like completely unnoticed and fall through the cracks and sell almost nothing. And I just, like, that really worries me. I feel like the risk on mobile is very high of having a very poorly performing game, even if it's a very good game. And added to the fact that you're competing basically on for a limited number of spots on a couple lists, and like take Game of War for instance. They had like a Super Bowl commercial. Okay, that is something that I will never ever be able to compete with. Like, just the sheer marketing power that can be put behind these games to get them on top of these lists makes it that so any small time developer just can't. Like, you know, unless you're like the runaway out of nowhere kind of Flappy Bird thing, but that's not a good marketing plan. You can't bank on that sort of thing happening to you. Like, you've got to be realistic. Like, hey, if that does happen to you, like, fantastic, that is awesome, but that's not going to happen to you. So, back to my point though, I originally wanted to do Hypership 2 for mobile, or mobile kind of specific, and I don't like where the market is right now for that. So it needs a lot of revamping to be. I would love to bring that to PlayStation 4, but I want to bring the original Hypership over first. So it's kind of Hypership 2's got to kind of push down. I've got another platformer game that I've spent a significant amount of time on, and I've actually been working on it for probably like 2 or 3 years. It's, considering I've worked on it that long, it's not that far along, but it is like kind of a dream project for me. I've shown some old videos of it, but I'm not going to elaborate too much. But that's one of the other things that's occupied a lot of my time this past year, and I don't anticipate finishing that just because it's such a big project, and I want to get some of these other things out first. Out, released, ported, yada yada yada. So it's down on my scale of priorities, but it's definitely something that I intend on picking back up one of these days. So that is really my spiel for today. I'm gonna let you guys all get back to whatever you're doing. I'm gonna debate really hard about purchasing Arkham Knight, which is on discount on both Xbox One and PlayStation 4 right now, and maybe I'll end up doing that, although it's already almost 11, and as most of you with the newer consoles probably realize, these 4 gigabyte downloads, and then sometimes with updates, it might be unrealistic that I can actually play it tonight, so maybe I won't do that. But find something for yourself to do. I'll find something for myself to do. We'll all be good. And I'm going to remind you, for the first time or maybe the second time, depending on how echoey it was when I recorded it, I don't know if I'm going to include it, but somewhere down here, I don't think it's up here, I think it's down here, but maybe it's up here, is the subscribe button. And I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to this. I don't have many subscribers right now. I used to have a lot more, and what happened is that I had all my Fun Infused Game stuff on my personal YouTube account, and I wanted to post pictures of my cat, or videos of my cat, and videos of, you know, me and my friends, my daughter, and I kind of came to the realization a lot of people that follow me are following me for video game stuff, and it's like, you guys don't care about that. I mean, maybe you do. If you do, follow ChrisWD40 on YouTube. But I figured most of you are here for game or game development stuff, so I split them. And I don't think a lot of people followed me when I split them. I think I lost most of my audience. So yeah, if you can subscribe, much appreciated. Tell your friends, your girlfriends, boyfriends, grandmas, grandpas, cousins, uncles, like, you know, just tell everyone, literally every person that you see, that they should subscribe to Fun Infused Games on YouTube. I think it might just be Fun Infused, but if you're on this video, the button's somewhere. So All right, thanks for listening. Hopefully it wasn't too rough on you making it all the way through this. I applaud anyone that actually took the time to listen to me this long. My daughter, I think, knows how horrible I am to listen to for long stretches of time, and would not wish that upon anyone else. But you did that willingly. Thank you for that.